This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Clive Bull.
LBC, I'm Clive Bull with you till 10 in for Ian Dale this week. We're going to talk about tasers now. A police force has decided to issue every frontline officer with a taser after an alarming rise in attacks on emergency services. So is it time for all officers now to be armed with, at the very least, a taser, given the sort of thing that they're facing? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850, tweet at LBC. We were talking about this a little earlier, and there were a lot of people texting and tweeting about this. Do come back with those messages or call in now. We're going to devote this hour to this subject and talk about the dangers that the police face and the kind of protection that they need. Is it all about tasers? Are there other issues here as well? 0345 6060 973. And the force in particular we're talking about here is Northamptonshire Police. And their Chief Constable, Nick Adderley, says that the weapons will be issued to all officers who want one. He's one of at least 7 forces who are introducing tasers for all their frontline officers who want them. He said, I'm quoting him here, "I can't sit here and preside over a situation where my officers are exposed to increasing levels of violence when at my disposal is equipment that could save an officer's life. There are people out there who are prepared to seriously injure or worse. We haven't moved with the times. We have to move with the times now to combat the threat we are facing daily from those who simply have no respect for law and order." This announcement follows, of course, the death of PC Andrew Harper in Berkshire last week as he responded to reports of a burglary, the latest incident where an officer has been harmed while on duty. There have been many. So is routine arming with a taser the answer to attacks on officers? Is this the kind of protection support that they need? Are there other issues here as well? If you're in the force, do you value having a taser? Do you need one? Do you have qualms about their use? 0345 6060 973 is the number to call. Text 84850 and tweet at LBC. And let's talk first to Richard Taylor, who's a campaigner against the increasing use of tasers. Richard, good evening to you.
Well, good evening, Clive. Well, I think like everyone else, I want to live in a safe society, and I want to have an environment where it's safe for police officers to do their job as well. I'm just concerned that having all our frontline police officers armed with taser isn't the right way to go about that. I think if we had all our frontline police officers armed with taser, they would be bringing more force to situations on a routine basis, and the chances are, the research is suggesting that they will end up in both using more violence themselves and facing more violence. And whenever we've seen forces increase the number of officers they've been issuing taser to, we've seen taser get used more in those forces. And what I want to see is just, as I suspect the Chief Constable you referred to and police officers want, is proportionate policing. And I'm concerned that we might be putting that at risk if we have all frontline officers armed with these tasers.
But you know that they are being attacked and violent attacks are increasing. It's not as if they have to be used. Surely it's useful to have it there in case you need it.
But what we've been seeing in practice is that they have been using them more, the more that they've got them. And I think we have to, you were talking in your introduction about what is the answer to this problem that we've got with increases in certain types of violent crime. Well, I think we've got to look at our justice system. We've got to look, as the Prime Minister's been saying, at our sentencing. So we should always have a separate sentence, I think, for an assault against a police officer. I've been in court and I've seen essentially no sentence given for an assault against a police officer, just an order to pay the officer £50. That was in relation to an assault where I live in Cambridge. So we can certainly do more on sentencing. We can have a more effective, transparent justice system offering real deterrent. So I think by the time we get to the point of having police officers essentially fighting people, using violence on the streets, we've lost we've lost order in our society. So we have to be tackling this a step back from the level of arming our police with ever more force.
You've got to put yourself in the position of an officer, though, who might be being attacked, who might be facing somebody with a knife. They need to defend themselves.
I think so. We know that the police, and we heard on the news just before this item that the Police Federation are keen on all police officers who want to carry taser to have them. But we've got to think about what kind of society we want to live in, and whether we want to have police officers with taser weapons as a matter of routine. And I think
don't we want to live in a society where police can defend themselves against somebody coming at them with a knife or a gun?
Well, I think we've got a nice example. We can look to America and see what happens if we gave all our police guns. Which I know it's not being proposed, but in that kind of society where you have policing by force and policing under the threat of force, it's actually a lot more dangerous to be a police officer. So I think we've got something really valuable in this country. Our culture of policing by consent, our culture of not starting every interaction with the police with the threat of force, and that's actually kept us safe and it's kept the police safe over many decades. And I think it's something which we should do all we can.
But is it working now?
To retain? Well, we do at the moment. We are in historically at a time of low crime. Like violent crime peaked in 1995, and it's been on a drop since, although we have had these particular exceptions, like the murder rate is slightly up recently, and the rates of knife crime and stabbing is up recently. So we certainly have some problems, but I don't think, particularly in the aftermath of a tragedy like PC Andrew Harper's death, we shouldn't be in that when sort of emotions are running high. That's not the time to make strategic long-term changes to the way that we police this country. We've got a lot that's really good about our culture of policing, which I think is really worth trying to maintain. It's something that's when you go to other places, when you see police officers routinely armed with guns, which is rare in this country still, although it does happen now. You do see them, of course, at stations and airports and things, but we still don't have a routine traffic stop in the UK. Isn't done with a police officer's hand on their gun or a taser. It's done. Yeah. There isn't that threat of force, and I think then that keeps everybody safe. That keeps the police.
Is it the specific weapon?
Keeps us safe.
Sure. Is it the specific weapon that you're worried about? That it is more dangerous than it might appear? Because I think people understand a taser to be something that effectively disarms a person. It's not really a weapon.
A taser is less lethal than a conventional firearm, and I'm completely in favour of got a conventional firearm having a taser as a less lethal alternative. But these are not stun guns. They're not something from Star Trek and science fiction. They are very, very dangerous. So even just the barbs themselves, if they hit you in the face, in the eyes, they can do really serious injury. They go into you through the skin. They pierce the skin. And then when the voltage is applied, you lose all control of your muscles. So your head can drop. And if you're standing on a road or a concrete floor, your head will drop completely. You can't stop your head from falling to the floor. So serious injury can be caused by tasers. And I am concerned that the police officers using them don't necessarily know how much force they're putting in. When you press a switch on a taser, and we have had cases of police officers pressing the switch and holding the switch for a very long time with the taser, they don't know in the same way as if they're actually holding someone or if they're using their baton. In my view, they don't know how much force that they're putting in. So it's very difficult to keep that level of force proportionate.
All right, Richard, thank you very much. Very good to talk to you, and thank you for your view. Richard Taylor, campaigner against the increasing use of tasers.